What's going on, guys? I'm Dave, and today we're talking about the Pop-A-Shot Home Single Shot. This was probably the best surprise gift I've ever received, so if you're a wife, a husband, a parent trying to surprise someone with an awesome gift, you're on the right track. Coming in right around $200, this is the Pop-A-Shot model for people who just want to have some arcade basketball fun at home. I have to think it's the most popular one because it kind of has that Goldilocks fit between quality and price. In this video, I'm going to cover all the things that I would have wanted to know about it before receiving it, and by the end of this video, you'll know if it's what you're looking for. Just a quick important note, this review is for the Home Edition, which is a higher quality model compared to the Sport Series, which is a cheaper version that people don't really like a whole lot. Okay, now let's pop some shot. First, the Pop-A-Shot was easier to put together than we thought it would be. It definitely helps to have two people just because it's pretty big, but my wife and I put it together in under an hour without any drama. It comes with 4 balls that have good grip and are better quality than you think. They have light colors, they don't have cracks, and they hold air for about a month or two before you have to pump them up again. Assembling a Pop-A-Shot doesn't really take any out of the ordinary precision or skills. If you're generally pretty good at putting things together that have instructions, you're good to go. We got it right the first time that we put it together, and I wouldn't say that we're particularly good at assembling things in general. We were actually running our Airbnb at the time, and a guest was checking in 2 hours after we opened the box, which was pretty much the point of no return. We were mildly panicked that we weren't going to finish in time, but we finished with time to spare. I was a little worried about putting it together because I was so excited to get the Pop-A-Shot and didn't want to mess it up, but I think they did a really good job of making this very easy for 2 people to put together. We put it together 2 years ago, and we've yet to tighten a single screw. Best of all, the counter has worked this whole time, and I can't actually remember it ever miscounting, which is pretty impressive for something that you'd anticipate breaking all the time. As far as I can tell, the counter uses a couple of little lights to tell if shots are going in, and it's been solid since day one. It's a lot more sturdy and more dependable than like a physical lever under a hoop. Now let's talk about real world dimensions. We have this thing in our basement. It's about 30 inches wide at its longest point, 82 inches long, and 82 inches tall. The Pop-A-Shot can actually fold inward for storage when it's not in use, which makes it not as long. We never actually do that because I think if you have to fold it all the time, you probably don't have space for the Pop-A-Shot in the first place. Our ceiling is about 100 inches high, so we have some breathing room above the Pop-A-Shot, but I really wouldn't want to go much lower than around 96 inches or so. It would be super annoying to hit the ceiling while you're shooting, or have the ball bounce off the rim and then hit the ceiling, or if you had to alter your shot just because your ceiling was a little bit too low. All of those would be super annoying, and you don't want to do that. If you're getting this for kids, you might be able to get away with a lower ceiling height because they're shooting from a lower release point, but if you're an adult, maybe 96 inches on the ceiling height at the absolute lowest. With a 100-inch ceiling, I can shoot with plenty of arc if I feel like it for some reason, and the ball never bounces off the rim and hits the ceiling. At this height, we've also had first graders play with it who are just wild shooters, and none of their shots have ever hit the ceiling either. So before picking one of these up, definitely measure your ceiling height. I could see that being a really big bummer if you realize that your ceiling is a little bit too low because you might have to bank every shot. If you're enjoying this video so far, please give it a like to help more people find it on YouTube. Now back to the video. Okay, so this is a pretty big thing to think about. The Pop-A-Shot is pretty freaking loud. The rim and the backboard and the balls already make a lot of noise, especially if you're going to bank every shot, which is what a lot of adults do. In addition, there's also commentary and music, which adds to the noise. This is probably the biggest thing that you'll want to consider outside of space and ceiling height, but it's specific to your situation. The balls are made of rubber, and when fully inflated, they are not quiet. These are very legit mini basketballs with some good weight to them. We have our Pop-A-Shot in the basement, and if you're on the second floor and people are playing in the basement, you can absolutely tell. It's the sound of the balls, the backboard, the rim, the commentary, it's everything. It's muted, but you can hear it. That means that the sound is traveling up 2 flights of stairs, through walls, through doors, and you're still able to hear it. If you were thinking of putting this in your garage, people will still be able to hear you playing inside the house. If you live in an apartment or condo, your neighbors will probably hate you. If you live in a townhouse, you might be able to get away with it if you don't put it on a shared wall, but your neighbors will probably know that you got something new. If you're going to be playing with your family all together, all of this is a non-issue. Admit that all of the noise from the Pop-A-Shot does make our 8-month-old cry when he's in the same room, so if you're thinking of putting this in your baby's room for some crazy reason, that's not the right move. But if you were thinking of putting this somewhere in your house for some alone sanity time, it's probably not going to work. Everybody's going to be able to hear when you're playing. If you're thinking about getting this for your kid and you're anticipating a lot of sleepovers or late night tournaments, you're probably going to have to set some ground rules when people are going to have to stop shooting. That being said, it's kind of nice because you'd be able to hear what they're doing. So I don't know if I would call this a complaint, but I definitely didn't realize how loud it would be before I had one. It's just louder than you think, and that's probably the biggest thing for you to consider outside of just having enough space for it. The Pop-A-Shot does have different game modes, but in reality, you're going to stick to the classic mode where you shoot to earn bonus time, and shots that you make after the clock is at 10 seconds or lower are counted as threes. For some of the other game modes, you get rewarded for hitting a lot of shots in a row, or making shots in a very short amount of time, and things like that. So those other game modes exist, but realistically, you'll play them about once or twice, and then you'll be back to the classic mode. My personal best high score is 92 as of today, but the best score ever in our house is 96 by my wife, which she did yesterday, so feel free to chase those scores if you end up getting one. I know that we'll break 100 one day, and I'm sure a lot of people do, but your forearms actually do get really gassed if you play a lot of games in a row. Probably the most legitimate annoyance with the Pop-A-Shot is that balls do occasionally fall out of the return area. It doesn't happen every time, but I would say about 30% of games you'll have a ball come rolling down into the return area and pop out. It's a little annoying, and honestly it's not going to make or break your high score, but it does fall out every now and then. Since this is a single shot, 4 balls is actually plenty and you could absolutely play with 3, but it does fall out more than you'd want it to, which is never. Luckily for us, we have a wall on one side of the Pop-A-Shot and then kind of an open space on the other side, but if you're thinking of putting this anywhere where people might be setting down food or drinks on either side of it, it's not a safe space. I don't think that this would happen nearly as much with the Pro model, which has much higher, sturdier netting on the sides, but that's $650 and this is $200. Last I checked, there aren't any professional Pop-A-Shot leagues, so you'll probably be okay saving $450 to have a few balls fall on the floor every now and then. So yes, you'll occasionally lose a ball out of the return area every now and then. You will be a little bit annoyed, but you're going to be okay. Okay, this next one is for the fancy folks in the room with really nice houses. I should have anticipated this with something that's going to have things thrown at it over and over at pretty high speeds, but the Pop-A-Shot is absolutely going to leave a little bit of damage on the wall behind it. On the spots where the bolt comes through the back of the Pop-A-Shot, you're probably going to end up with a little hole or dent in your wall unless you cover it up. This is obviously avoidable if you have any level of foresight, but I'm just telling you the things that I wish that I had known beforehand and the things that will help you when you get one of your own. You're probably going to have a wall behind your Pop-A-Shot because that's just the logical thing to do to avoid it rocking or shifting backwards. But if you're renting a house or just care a lot about the condition of your walls, you can absolutely minimize damage by just taking a few simple precautions beforehand. If you have kids, I'm sorry to say this is going to leave marks on the wall no matter what. They're going to bump into the Pop-A-Shot, they're going to push it, they're going to miss horribly, there are going to be some scuff marks. One important random thing to note is that owning a Pop-A-Shot does not necessarily make you a professional Pop-A-Shot player. In your imagination, you're instantly going to become one of those people on YouTube who hits 50 shots in a row and then the net catches on fire. The people who do that play a lot and much respect to them. Like anything, to be incredible at something, you have to practice all the time. So you're not going to get this and instantly become a YouTube sensation, but you will get better over time for sure. So should you get a Pop-A-Shot? If you got the space and you don't mind the noise, absolutely. If we had more space, it would have been awesome to get the dual shot so that 2 people can play at a time, but a single shot is pretty awesome for home, the office, or anywhere else. It is loud, balls will end up on the floor every now and then, you will scuff up the wall behind it, but it's pretty much unlimited fun. The positives, including the build quality and the non-video game fun that keeps people active, far outweigh any negatives that come with it. If you or your kids or your friend enjoys shooting around and has an ounce of competitiveness in their body, they're going to love this. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like or share it with that friend or person who you're trying to convince to let you get this. Thanks so much for watching and happy Pop-A-Shotting!